let me touch on one area which is causing a lot of confusion. We knew going into this current deadline for MDR that Brexit was going to be an issue. I don't think, at least on this side of the pond, there was an anticipation that Switzerland might also be an issue. And for people who aren't aware, Switzerland actually is home to a significant portion of the medical device community in Europe, both in terms of being the location of several large company headquarters, as well as housing a whole host of small startups. So it's not insignificant. Give us an update on where things stand in terms of Brexit, and were you surprised about the situation with Switzerland, and what does that mean in terms of MDR?
Okay, indeed, it seems like we go from Brexit to Switzerland, and in the midst of the wave between this, we fixed the issue with Turkey. So because Turkey was also an issue, but that has been fixed. Mm-hmm. So situation with Switzerland, yes, I mean it is a little bit surprising to us that the authorities between the EU and Switzerland did not realize what they were getting into. Now, what is the issue? The issue is quite simple. The issue is that Switzerland has always had an agreement with Europe under the Medical Device Directive that you could, from Switzerland, distribute your product in Europe without having what they call a legal representation in Europe. You could have your legal representation in Switzerland, but you could still, basically, because your product was approved by a notified body, that could be a Swiss notified body or could be even a European notified body, but the legal representation was in Europe, was in Switzerland. Now, this was perfectly accepted under the Medical Device Directive. The problem is that under the Medical Device Regulation, this is not accepted anymore. So you need to have a legal representation in one of the EU member states to be able to commercialize. What was requested is that the product which are from Switzerland, okay, without a legal representation in Europe, but with a certificate, could benefit from the transition period, the 3 years, remember, up to 2024, to get into, basically, the new regulation, like any other products could benefit from it. Well, the problem is that to do that, you needed to amend a document, okay, which would recognize that possibility. Now, got involved into this a bigger issue, which is the relation between EU and Switzerland on very big subject like movement of people and so on. And that little piece of thing is part of this bigger agreement. We had hoped that this would be solved because in the interest of patients, okay, it is just a matter of a few hours and you technically fix it. The issue is, it's not a technical issue. It's a political issue. It's a political issue where the system got caught into the larger consideration of EU-Switzerland relation. And let's face it, on this, it seems that both sides are right now breaking their communication. And, we will continue to try to convince the authorities to say, but come on, at least allow products to benefit from the transition period. Allow this, okay? Treat Switzerland the same way you are treating product coming from other places, which basically are under the same system. Right now, the situation is not looking very good, let's face it, because the communication is a bit broken between EU and Switzerland. I wish I could say, look, don't worry, this is going to be fixed. We said that, unfortunately, many times because, again, technically, it is such an easy thing to fix. Okay, so easy. But there is much bigger things in the midst here. Now, it means that essentially, Now, many companies anticipated them. Okay, we advise companies to anticipate. And the way you could anticipate on this is don't rely only on your legal representation in Switzerland. Open up, have a legal representation in one of the 27 member states. If you have that, okay, you might need to change a bit your labeling, but then you're okay. Then you can take your product out of Switzerland into Europe without a problem. Okay. Now, not all companies have wanted to do that. Okay. And there is not a problem going from Europe to Switzerland. That's okay, fine. So it's very unfortunate. It's there. We have to deal with it. Let's hope that people will get to a reasonable thinking at a point in time, saying, okay, we understand that we have differences. We may have patients at stakes. And you know what? It is not Swiss patients which are at stakes here. It is European patients which are at stakes. It is European patients. So, you know, for me, it's a totally crazy situation. Politically, maybe, but for the good sake of patients, it makes no sense.
Let's talk about Brexit a little bit, because obviously this is one that was anticipated. And in fact, you know, there were examples of notified bodies that moved or relocated from the UK to the continent. Yeah. What's the current situation, and what has the impact of Brexit been?
Okay, so far, I mean, you know, should say so far so good. We don't see too much of the Brexit here, which basically has an impact. I mean, it seems to me that a lot of companies have very strongly anticipated over what could be happening over Brexit. Now, let's face it also, the UK and Europe are going to continue to recognize the products and the product approval and the CE marking, I think, for the next 2 years. So I think that we're potentially okay for the next 2 years. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen in 2023. Okay, which direction is this going to go? What direction is going to take the UK is going to take in terms of an approval system? Is it a more FDA kind of system? Is it a more European kind of system? Is it something in between? Okay, it is totally open. So on top of it, I think a lot of the companies had built significant stocks of products in the system to anticipate and to buffer the effect. So right now, we don't see big issues. It is a bit more complicated. Things might take, again, more time at the border and stuff because there is more documentation. I think it is potentially more complicated for companies which are producing, let's say, which are producing in the UK, because obviously they have to import different kind of products, transform the product in the UK, and then ship it back to Europe. But on that front, so far, let's touch wood, it seems to be going along relatively well.